Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Working Man Ron Doyle. Got a little bit of a problem with the last video that I shot. It was demolition concrete with a Vermeer CTX 160, and I was hauling all the concrete out with this dump trailer. It is a 1999 Parker dump trailer, 10,000 pound. The empty weight is about 4,000 pound. I can carry 6,000 pound. I believe I was overloaded, possibly 7,000 to 8,000 pounds that I had on it caused the problem. The question is it the hardware that I replaced about 10 years ago on the trailer that caused the tire rubbing problem, or was it a true overload? Going to dig a little deeper into this situation and find out exactly what happened. I'm going to do a little walk around with this thing, and I'm going to start dissecting it and taking it apart. I hope you all are interested in the video. If so, hang around. Let's see what we do. All right, I got the tongue jack all the way up on the last pinhole that it has. It's a drop foot jack. It's more than enough to hold this trailer. You can see the tire rubbing issues right now where I've got it expanded up. Now in that last video, my concern was this overlapped piece of metal overlapping the C-channel frame. It's a 6-inch C-channel frame. This metal is blistered out. Now as far as the springs being out of alignment, you can tell they've shifted. Normally there's a carrier clip that holds this leaf stack together. That carrier clip is usually on those first three. That is gone. Look over here. There's a carrier clip right on there. That's still intact, but you can tell it's sliding back. Now, the one on the front is on the back. The carrier clip is supposed to be on the front side. That was original placement. When I redid the hardware 10 years ago, I only did bushing bolts on the front to back, and I did the links in between. I didn't flip the springs around. Looking at this one, the day I had the problem, you don't see any carrier clips. Now the carrier clip that popped off that day was the one from the front. Let's see if I can slide over there. You can see some evidence of it where the carrier clip was actually at. So both of these carrier clips that hold these leaf stacks together have fell off. So the dump body bed is consistent on the rail dimension from the channel for the upper frame to the channel on the lower frame. This is the back of the trailer. Okay, looks like we've got about 3/4 of an inch. Looks pretty consistent. See if the frame is twisted. The shackle hangers. Now looking at the shackle hanger, to me, lined up with the outer edge, the shackle hanger looks okay. When I go to the middle one, let's see if I can get you a close up of this. Alright, this is the equalizer hanger. It's basically constructed the same thickness, span, and height as the actual leaf spring hanger. Me looking at this, looks like it's bent inward a slight bit. Looking at the one in the front, it doesn't look bent like this one does. Going over here, this is the driver's side. Looking at the front shackle hanger, it's not bent. Looking at the back shackle hanger, lined up with the frame, it's splayed out just a little bit that way. That could be a cause of the axle shifting. Looking at the equalizer hanger, see if I can get you lined up. To me, that equalizer hanger appears to be bent inward toward the trailer. It's ever so slightly. What I might have to do is taking all the hardware off, I might have to bend these back. Quite possible I might have to bend both of these back. Alright, next thing, let's check the slop in the wheel bearings. Alright, this is the passenger side rear wheel. This is the one that's got the physical damage on it. Grab the bottom and the top. I'm going to wiggle it back and forth to see if I see any abnormal movement. See if I hear any bearing slap. Now I'm going side to side. Very, very minimal. Not something that raises concern to me. This is the passenger side front. Rock it top to bottom. It's got a very little bit of play. Not nothing that would be concerning. Do a little spin. I can hear the brake shoes dragging a little bit, but they're not catching. The one in the back, I didn't spin. It doesn't sound like the brakes are contacting at all. Probably need to do adjustment on this brake shoe. It doesn't sound close enough to me. You should hear a little bit of drag. Let me go to the driver's side now. All right, this is the driver's side front. Gonna spin it. A little bit of brake drag. Up and down seems to be minimal to normal. Side to side seems normal. This is the driver's side rear wheel. Up and down. Hopefully this bearing's okay. There's a little bit of slop up and down. It's not a lot, but it's enough to cause a bearing problem. So we're going to be repacking bearings and doing adjustment. And checking the condition. Side to side seems about the same way. Now next step is to start taking off the tire and the rim from that side, the physical damage side, and just go ahead and jack her up first, lift the body up so you all can get another look at the rubbing from the inner fender and where the frame is, where dirt's getting packed. Let me show you that. Sound like the battery's low. Going it. Should put it on trickle charge the day before. Alright, I got the new battery that I've got to make a battery box for this trailer hooked up with jumper cables, so now we should be able to go up. Now, this being jacked up on jack stands, kind of leery of going too high with this thing, so I'm gonna adjust battery cables. It's hard to believe that battery's dead. Oh, there we go. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen on a video. It's just the way it is. Let me see what that was. I had some tools laying on the fender over there that I totally forgot about. Now, jacking this up, we are on the bottom frame. Originally, when I put it on jack stands, I had it on the upper frame, which would cause a pinch point, and this body wouldn't go up in the air. So I had to switch that around. With a good battery, this thing's pretty fast, even with a load. There's different style of cylinders on these particular trailers. You can get a single cylinder push with no mechanics from a scissor lift. You can get a single cylinder, a dual cylinder, or you can get a single cylinder hydraulic scissor lift, or you can get the telescopic scissor lift that they're actually putting on the front tongue now. They say it's more effective. Trailer costs a little bit more, but they say they'll lift without any problems. I have not overloaded this trailer enough that it wouldn't lift it. That scissor lift is awesome in my book. I like it. I did have a problem one day with that scissor lift up on the hill, Wacomico County landfill. I had a load. I had it wired up in the cab of the truck, so as I back up, I swung the doors open and pinned them back prior to backing up. But I could actually sit in the trailer, raise the bed up, wired. I could raise it up, dump the body, and then drive off. Well, the hill that you're on is actually moving from the large excavators and track loaders that are up there. The whole hill is shaking. I'm looking in my rear view mirror for this to top out and stop the dump process. I never heard it top out. I deadheaded the cylinder and I blew the packing gland out of the top of that cylinder. It fell and bent the ram. I had to take that to a machine shop, have them straighten the ram out and repack it for me. That ended up costing, I believe, right around $500. This cylinder at the time was not available for purchase. It either had to be remade or repaired, and I decided to have it repaired. Was a little bit cheaper. Machine shop was able to do it. Yeah, grateful for the guys at the machine shop. They did an awesome job, and I haven't had a problem from this cylinder since. Now that this is up in the air, let me show you where it's rubbing. Alright, this is the passenger side. That is the rear wheel that was causing the rubbing issue. Like I said in the first video, sorry about the camera shadow, this is the upper frame, or I'm sorry, lower frame. Upper frame is up in the air. Okay, if you look down this lower frame, it's actually supported off the axles down below. If you look down this, see if I can do it without a shadow, you see minimal gap in here. Following that down, see minimal gap. You see what's happening? Sticks, twigs, dirt, sand is getting in between the fender and the body that's overspilling and spilling down in here. Well, if you look to the back, right here, now we got stones, now we got a gap. So what's going to happen, I'm going to take a torch or a grinder, I'm going to grind along this line all the way down. All the way down. What that's going to do is cut through this metal somewhere up in here. I'm going to move this metal over and I'm going to weld this sheet metal to the top of the bottom frame. So I'm going to weld it in here. Now, you're probably going to ask, well, this inner fender skirt is going to get sloppy and loose. You're absolutely right, it will. So I'm going to have to cut this 45 support bracket out. So this is a walkable fender. You can actually step on it. Cutting this 45-degree gusset out, I'm going to have to put a new gusset in from this top corner all the way down. Now, in doing that, this and this lower piece, the inner skirt of this fender and this lower piece of channel are going to line up in a flat line. So I'll be able to extend this 45 gusset all the way down. Now I'm going to also incorporate I'm going to make it thicker, and I'm going to incorporate a tie loop for tying down loads over top of this particular fender. That's going to be a little bit later segment in this video. Right now, we're going to take this tire off and see how bad it is. The hardware, shackles, shackle bolts, most of the hardware on this particular trailer is either going to be a 13/16 or a 7/8. And I'm also using the DeWalt XR series impact, which is a DCF 900. This thing's got a lot of power. I'm pretty impressed with this thing. You do want to wear your eye protection, because when you're doing impacts, it can put off small fragments of metal that can blow and get in your eye, and we need to protect your eyes. Now, that being said, I just had something hit me in the cheek right there. And that is on speed 3. They got 1, 2, and 3 on the inside. That's on the max setting. This particular trailer has got 5,200-pound axles, which are 6-lug pattern with 16-inch rims and tires. Going by the damage that you see on that, it's pretty frustrating. Now, I got the tires and rims off. I'm in the process of blocking up. I want to get this dump bed down to be a little bit safer, and I wanted to show you a feature of this particular dump trailer setup, where I had, you seen that it was dead. I put a jumper cables and a battery on this to get the trailer in the up position. Now I'm going to lower this, and the voltage that's left in this is less than 12 volts. It's not enough to actually make it go up, but there's enough voltage in this to lower it down. So it's gravity down. Now, I will say, with this style of dump trailer, if you go to a stone yard and they overload you, and you want to take, either they overload you tongue heavy and you want to send some weight to the back of the trailer, or if you want to dump some of the load off and not all of the load off, if you raise this dump trailer to shift the load from tongue heavy to more on the axle weight, this trailer does not have a flow control valve. It will slam down hard, I mean very hard, enough to break the receiver and the hitch on the back of your truck. I did it the very first tow that I towed this trailer after I got it, and I raised it up half the way to shift a tongue heavy load back. I set that sucker down. You would never see anything drop so fast in your life. I was really worried I hurt the back of the trailer, or the back of my towing vehicle. So now let me get this finished blocked up and start to the next process. Okay, now that the trailer is blocked up on jack stands and the axles are actually blocked up on cinder blocks and wood shocking, now we're going to go ahead and inspect and remove the hardware that we're taking off to see what kind of problems caused all this. Now I'm underneath of the trailer on the driver's side, and all the hardware that I replaced was the bolts, bushings that go in between the leaf spring, the bushings, the links that are in the equalizer. I replaced these bolts, and the one thing that strikes me funny on all of this is, see if I give you a close-up, these were brand new. Do you see that nut? Over half of that nut has gone to rust. I find that to be the underside of a trailer. It's not getting physical damage. I don't drive it much in the wintertime. That to me is pretty excessive. You can see the how much of that nut is actually gone. I got a feeling I'm going to have to torch these bolts off. I don't think I'm going to be able to bust them free with the impact, but we'll find out. So the $1,000,000 question: will these rusty nuts come off of here with the DeWalt 20-volt XR impact driver? It is a 13/16. I've lubed every single one of them up with some silicone spray, and we'll see how this goes on number 3 speed. Going, vibrating that, man, vibrating the crap out of my hand on that back side with that wrench. Tearing my knuckles up. She did it. Not that bad. Not that bad. Not what I expected. I expected that to be worn out a little bit more than that. So on to the next one. And once you take these out, these are not reusable. I know a lot of people do. They'll tack weld the nut on, because these are self-locking nuts. When you buy them new, they're hammered in fit. If you look, there is a knurl right there. You can see the little lines going around, and that is to drive into the shackle link so that it stays in position. But these are not reusable, so I'll be replacing those. That's what you call hot nuts. A little built-in humor for you. You definitely don't want to be touching them. Smoking hot nuts. Alright. So, these are shackle links. They're not supposed to look like that. This side is marginal to okay. That side is worn out. That's part of the problem. Alright, looking at these. I haven't taken these bolts out yet. You're getting ready to watch me do this now. Pop this one out. Pop this one out. Those bolts are supposed to be drove in to the shackle link, and when you drive them in, they're tight and lined up with this link. Taking these out, that, ladies and gentlemen, is worn out. That one's worn out. So these two as a married set of shackle links. So I got a feeling these are going to be worn out on this whole side. What caused them to wear out? Maybe I'm using it more than I thought. I'm going to go ahead and take this one off and see what this looks like. You definitely don't want to touch that. Alright, that shackle link came from the back axle. You can see this one's worn out, and this one's egged out just a little bit. Now, that is the married side. Goes like that. So looking at this, that one's egged out, and that one's egged out a little bit. Now, looking at the wear, if you look at the wear, you'll see waviness in this. You can see some more wear there than you can in the middle where it's not rubbing. This one doesn't really have a whole lot of wear on the sides. The first link that I took off, don't really see any side wear, just the holes are egged out. Now I'm going to pull this pin out, this alignment pin. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the $1,000,000 question. That is what caused this problem. That is an equalizer, that is a bushing. That equalizer is wore totally out. It's supposed to look like this on every hole, and that's what it looks like. I don't have a bent axle. I've got bad equalizers and worn out hardware. Now, the first time I did this hardware 10 years ago, I could not get one of these readily available to me. So I'm going to do a search, see if I can find these. I'm going to replace these in a pair along with all the hardware. These are the only things that I did not replace the last time I did this hardware. So I would recommend to you all, if you're doing hardware replacement and this is egged out any at all, change the whole entire thing. This looks like a lesson learned for me that I should have done and I didn't. And now it's costing me a tire and some downtime. The thing I want to bring you in a close-up for is the equalizer hanger. So if you're looking at that, the front and the back hole, take the best bolt that you got. Let's see, I'll pick this one. It's got some wear. You pick this one here. It's got a little bit of wear on it, but you want to make sure when you put that bolt in that hole that you have minimal up and down movement. If this equalizer hanger is egged out like the equalizer itself, you're going to have to cut off these and weld new equalizer hangers onto your trailer. I'm just lucky enough that I don't have to replace these. Thank God for that. I'm going to go ahead and remove this rear shackle bolt and see what that looks like. Using the boxed in wrench, I don't want to use that end, the open end, and stretch it. These nuts will get stuck into there. Best way to take them out, start your impact up slow and pull them out. Do not touch those, they are very hot. That is the rear shackle bolt, and you can see, of course, the knurling on that end is gone. Let's see what the looks like. The hole is in pretty good condition. Wow, never seen that before. I'm going to put the impact on the back side of this and break this loose. Now you all might be susceptible to some vibration because you're mounted on the trailer. These axles I've got blocked up. You see the blocking right here? That's way. I don't have to drop them down to the ground and strain with it. But looking at that bolt, there's minimal wear. The first hardware that I changed out 10 years ago, these bolts were worn half in two. This is fairly decent compared to what I've seen in the past. Little dabby do you. That's the second time I've lubed them up, so these should come out pretty good. Even with lube, they're smoking hot nuts. I am curious to see what this equalizer looks like. And the bolt that I took off of that looks like that. Not too bad. Alright, this is the outer shackle on the driver's side. You see this one's egged out just a little bit. That one's egged out a little bit. To me, that would be normal wear in a 10-year span. Me towing my trailer, let's just say 50 times a year. Tow trips, local tow trips, 50 times a year. Back side of this, looking at it, okay, a little bit of wear on the shoulder of that bolt. These are now not pressed in, they're loose. Taking the bottom one out. The knurling is gone. The holes, and this would be the head of the bolt. This is where the head of the bolt was. The holes are egged out on that one. Here's the shackle on the front side. Adjust the camera a little bit for you. You can see that. This is the one on the front. This is where the equalizer's at. Got a little bit of a bind going on here. See if I can free this up just a little bit. Pop this down. Bolt that was holding the shackle on in the leaf spring, it's minimal. Ladies and gentlemen, this equalizer right here, driver side equalizer, and looks about the same condition that that one was 10 years ago, and I couldn't replace it because I couldn't get this equalizer. I'm going to do a search for this and see if I can find this exact replacement. I don't really want to do any custom modification because I can't find one of these, but I'm going to see if I can try. You can see the bushing. That's supposed to be a circle bushing. There's only one half of it now, and she's egged out pretty good. That's worn out. Needs to be replaced. As far as this is stuck. Yeah, she came and she went. Alright, that, ladies and gentlemen, that's severely worn out. The one in the back is marginal, but needs to be replaced. Back side. Ladies and gentlemen, that's worn out. That one looks fairly decent. That one is borderline of causing an accident. You can imagine riding down the road with a heavy load maxed out, and that brake and your axle will fall off. You can't overlook this stuff. This has got to be replaced. Ladies and gentlemen, take the time to do the maintenance on your trailer. It just so happened, thank God, the equalizer wore out and showed me there was a problem. So as far as alright, this is like I said, this is the driver's side. I'm going to pick a fairly decent bolt. I want to make sure that this equalizer hanger is not worn out. Looking at the front and the back side of it, it appears to be in decent shape. Now we're going to go ahead and pop the back. She went out of flying. Let's see if I missed that. Now, as far as the bolts being stuck, that one has the best knurling left. You can see it, it's just under the shoulder of the bolt. You still see the knurling. It's pretty decent, and it was tight. One thing that I noticed that was another cause to this problem, this failure. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. That is the leaf spring hanger, the U-bolts, right here and right here. Look how loose that is. That was the other contributing factor to this breakdown. That is really sloppy. When I installed these 10 years ago, I torqued these to the manufacturer's specs. The trailer dealer told me to torque these to 120 pounds each, and I did a crosshatch pattern on all four of these nuts. So alright, that's the front bolt. It has some knurling left on it. Pretty decent, not worn out. Now, see what the bushing looks like in this thing. Yeah, what I expected, that's worn out too. They're supposed to be tubular and rounded, complete circles. So I'm going to take that same bolt and see how the hanger looks. Insert it back in and see what kind of slop you have. To me, that's fairly decent. So I'm going to remove one of these U-bolts that hold the leaf spring undermount to the axle, and this one is loose too. So instead of trying to tighten these rusty things up, I'm just going to take them and impact them off. This nut down here is a 3/4 nut. So I've got the 3/4 hooked up into the DeWalt. Let's see if I can get one of these off. I'm going to go backwards and forwards to clean the threads. I'd really like to take a whole entire U-bolt with me so that I can do a match-up. I'm going to try one of these until one of them come off. Will the DeWalt take it off? I don't know. Make sure I'm in high mode. It appears that I'm in high mode. Uh-oh. Oh, strip that nut off. They are very rusty. Don't appear to be doing too good of a job. Been better if I clean the threads. All right. I was beginning to lose hope for a minute there. Let's see if it takes the front one off. You definitely want to take this with you to the trailer dealer to get the right size. Wow. Good job, DeWalt. So if I can take this U-bolt out without messing up the wiring for the brake. There it be. A little bit of flattening going on in here. Of course, I done stripped any remaining thread that was on there. As far as the leaf spring itself, the leaf spring stack appears to be pretty good condition. Now I'm going to take a wire brush. I'll wire brush all this up, put them all back together, put a new bolt in the center, put a new tie strap on the front, and I'll paint all this before I put it back in. The leaf spring and the U-bolt hanger plate, you can tell if you look at this profile that that leaf spring has been sitting on here crooked for quite some time that I didn't even notice. You can look at it. It's actually hitting on this side of the bolt and on this side of the bolt. Let's see if I can. Let's see. It's an underhang. It's an underslung bracket. So the bottom of it that hole in the center, is centered in that plate, like you see. Now, it being mounted like that, it was actually not square in the plate, it was riding crooked. All right, to save on the DeWalt and the impact of getting all these U-bolts off, I'm going to go ahead and fire up the torch and get these U-bolts cut off, the ones that are left. I've got 6 to do. Got to worry about the actual brake line going to each drum. And I'm low on acetylene, so wish me luck. I hope this is enough gas to do it. I've got less than 50 pounds in the acetylene tank. I'm using the oxyacetylene to cut it off, and I'm using the Big Smith torch to do the job. Thought I singed the wire, but I didn't. I'm heating the center of the rod up and then starting the torch on the outside of the rod and moving my head out of the way so it doesn't pop, shoot sparks on me. You want to try to keep the heat off of the spring. This torch is about too long for this. Damn it. Need to tighten my knobs up. I've got all the shackle and hardware components off, and now is the time to wire wheel all these components, get them bare steel, and get them connected together. I've already impacted the pin. I've got the holding pin out of the center, as you can see on all of these. These stacks of springs I'm putting as I'm taking them off on the trailer. Same orientation they were before. I don't want to change any of that. I'm going to get you set up on a pedestal, and I'm going to start wire wheeling these and do some short clips of things that I'm doing to get this ready and doing the repairs. Well, I just noticed something right where this particular spring rides on the main carrier spring, lining these holes up. You can see this lower leaf. This would be the upper leaf, the holding leaf, actually is riding a line, squaring a line across the spring. Now sighting down it, it's not bent, but in both of those locations it has a line going across there. Didn't see that until I cleaned it up with a wire brush. Interesting. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I went to J&S Trailer Sales in Laurel, Delaware. They have two locations, Laurel, Delaware and Sharptown, Maryland. They were able to help me out with pretty much almost everything that I needed. I had to go to Tractor Supply for a few bolts, but one of the main things that was worn out on this trailer on the passenger side was the equalizer, as you can see here. They do have these in stock, and they do come with the bushings pressed in place. So I bought two new equalizers. They came with the bushings. They do sell this in a two configurations with this hole-to-hole center pattern. All of my holes are for a 9/16 bolt on every hole. The other one that they have in stock is this hole being a 5/8. This hole being a 5/8 hole. They were able to help me out with that. You're going to need some additional bushings for the leaf springs, as you see right here. This is my worn out bushing. That's the average is what they look like. That's a new bushing. Inner diameter is 9/16. I didn't measure the outer diameter, but they're really thin. They're like a thermoplastic, and they push right into your leaf springs. They're a pack of 8. Let's see, I think it's Redline. Yeah, Redline Parts. Redlineparts.com. If you're not local and you want to order these online, these equalizers that I talked about, two equalizers, they're $20 a piece, and both of them came up to $40. The bushings are 8 in a package, and they came up to $15 for the bushings. I needed the brands. They're sold in a 2-pack. This is also Redline hardware. U-bolts they're 1/2-inch diameter U-bolts. I got 4 of them, and it was $18 a package, and it came to $72 for 4 packages. Getting back to the shackle links you've seen me show you in the video, this one is pretty worn out. See how it's smashed and flared at the top? Basically an accident waiting to happen. If one of these breaks loose, you could be in some serious trouble. So I had to get a total of 8 of those, and they're calling these hangers. They were $24 for 8 of these. They make different configurations, so measure your hole centers and your diameter. Getting to the actual bolts, these are bolts specifically designed for trailers. They have a knurled shoulder, which is actually thicker. Now these bolts on new install actually have to be drove into the hanger, or what I would call a shackle link. So these nuts are mechanically crimped. If you see the 3 indentations on the end, that's where they are pressed. So you can only put this nut on one way. It is a 9/16 bolt, and you can't put it on the other way because they're self-locking. If you put it on the other way, they won't screw on. But the way you have to do that is you put both of these bolts into this shackle hanger, and I tap these bolts and set these into this hanger prior to install. So that's something that I have to do. If you try to put these on backwards, like I'm saying, you cannot get them started because they're of a self-locking design. They only go on one way. So the bolts that I needed for this trailer, I needed a total of 14 bolts that come to $42 for 14 of these bolts. There was few things that J&S equipment did not have. Was the connecting link bolt that is in the center. It was a product they didn't carry. The bolt that's in this is a 3/8 diameter. It was a 3/8 diameter fine thread bolt. What I have, and what Tractor Supply mostly has, is of a coarse thread, and I used a mechanical lock nut, which is actually divoted and crimped. It's crimped on the ends. You can see the little lines going in that nut. So these can only go in one direction, but this bolt is a 3-inch bolt, and I ended up putting the nut on and cutting it off after doing the cleanup process. Now, I'm going to insert some pictures right here in the video so you can see the cleanup process in me doing all the leaf springs individually. I went ahead and cleaned them all with a knotted wire wheel, basically a 4-inch knotted wire wheel on a 4.5-inch grinder, and put them all together, tightened them up, and sprayed them with rust reformer. This is a product that I've been using for about it's probably been about 10 years. I tried first can about 10 years ago, and I've got an ornamental saw blade mounted on my building that has been sitting out in direct sunlight, and the rust has not came through. So I was pretty impressed, and I'm going to continue to use this product. I like it. It's a good product from Rust-Oleum. It's kind of expensive, but of course all spray paint is expensive now. The other thing that J&S equipment didn't have was the holding bands that hold the last 3 leaves, the main carrier and the other 2 leaves together. It sandwiches them. All right, so all in all, I only had 3 on this trailer. The one on this front passenger side axle was totally was coming off the day of the incident. The one on the back of the axle, I believe this one was missing, causing the springs to misalign, and also contributing to a lot of the axle shift and the tire rubbing. So I ended up going to Tractor Supply, and I bought 4 square U-bolts, and they are made, I stapled the tag to it. They are made by a division of Stanley Hardware. It is labeled as a square U-bolt, 5/16 by 3 inch long by 2 inches wide. Excuse me. 2 inch wide is the interior dimension of the square U-bolt. That's here to here. These leaf springs are 1 3/4 inches wide. So there's a little bit of slop, which I don't anticipate to be a problem. Now, what you get with those particular U-bolts is a very paper thin strap that, if you tighten the U-bolt up, this will bend like a banana. These are junk. They sell these individually if you lose one or bend one or mess one up. I made my own out of a piece of 1 1/4 inch flat bar, as you can see, and put it on the last 3 springs, tightened it up. Not sure if these edges are going to be a problem with tire wear or tire rubbing. I may grind these corners off a little bit more. I left them square and just kind of smoothed them over. We'll find that out in the later part of this video. But I want to go under the trailer and check the shackle hangers and address some of the rubbing issues. I've got to do some cutting and some welding, modifying some brackets to straighten out some potential problems that I see. On trailers, you really don't want much more than 1 inch of overlap in any part of the metal on the trailer. If you have more than 1 inch of overlap, what happens is sand, dirt, gravel gets stuck in between the layers of metal, and it can cause the metal to rust out prematurely. We don't want that. We're trying to get maximum life out of our investments of dump trailers, trucks, anything. You don't want no more than 1 inch of overlap. This particular trailer has got quite a bit of overlap on the inner skirt of the fender to the actual bottom frame, and that's one thing I have to address in this video. Alright, so what you're looking at is the passenger side rear leaf spring hanger, and what I'm using is basically a 12-inch speed square. I've taken the end of it off, and what we're doing is we're lining up the upper part of the channel. This is a 6-inch channel with the lower part of the channel to see if this is bent. So easiest way to do that is to put it on there like that, and then this this particular line in this speed square is for the hand tightening nut to tighten onto this. It has a rod that goes up and down. Well, if you look at that, that's half the distance of the blade. And if you're looking at that line with this hanger, that is not that much out. Now, distance between the two, we need 1 3/4 inches. We'll have a little bit of compression with the bolts. So I'm going to shoot for about 1 7/8 of spread inside to inside. Let me get a hammer. Actually, I'm going to leave this one alone. This looks pretty symmetrical as far as being in line with the channel above. Let's check the middle and the front one out. All right, now this is the middle hanger. I want to make sure I don't get the brake cable pinched in between, but I'm going to the top leg of the channel, and I'm going to the bottom leg of the channel. Make sure there's no welds that are going to be in the way. Now, if you look at this hanger that this equalizer hangs off of, this one's bent. It's bent inward toward the inside of the trailer. So what I'm going to do is bang this out so that it's symmetrical with this line, and then we'll check and do the same thing for this one. Now, distance apart, after I get done, I want 1 7/8 in between the two of them. So if you got your earbuds in, you may want to still pause this. That did. And a little bit more, not much. I have to get my face out of the way because the whole time I've got rust coming down. I've got safety glasses on. What's that look like? You all can see it better than I can. That's perfect. Now it looks like we need to open this one. We need to bang this one back out. Let's see what measurement we got. We've got 1 3/4. I'm gonna bang this one out just a little bit. Oh, man. There we go. 1 7/8. On the money. All right, let's go to the front and see how that one looks. All right, this is the one in the front on the passenger side. Of course, this piece that you're seeing right here is the inner fender. So we're going to do the same thing. Top leg and bottom leg of the channel iron. Make sure it's not on any welds down in this area here. And it looks like, going by what's on the camera, I've got to bend it over. She's bent too. That looks good. Yeah, it looks good. All right, let's see what the distance apart is. We got 1 7/8, so it looks good. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Y'all don't need to see this process again, but I guarantee you something over there is bent too. We'll check. All right, this is the rear hanger. I want to give you all a different view of what I'm actually looking at. This is the upper leg of the channel, the lower leg of the channel, and of course I'm sighting the inside of this shackle, this spring hanger, and that's perfect. Not a complaint there. As far as 1 7/8, we're on the money. This one I don't have to touch at all. All right, this is the other thing that I need to address. It's where this is flared out. You can see if I put that on there where it was welded, it's this area here is flared out and this area is flared out. There's dirt captured underneath of that. You can see a lot better here how much gap is underneath of that. Now you're gonna have probably 1/8 of an inch from this corner over, but there's also dirt that's packed up underneath of that, and I need to remedy and alleviate this problem with stones and dirt getting packed up underneath of this inner trailer skirting, causing this problem of tire rub. You can see where the tire was rubbing, causing overheat, heating the metal up. So what we're going to do is cut down the length of this metal. I'm going to drill holes where I want my segment welds, and then I'm going to cut slot to hole to hole with the slot, so we have proper drainage if any sand gets on the top of this channel iron. But this tire rubbing issue, I'm trying to resolve. Alright, what I've got is a hole layout from where they've welded. I'm drilling the holes to mark on the opposite side so I can do a torch cut. I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to weld this. I got a W for weld. I'm going to weld this. I'm going to cut this out. This is already welded. I'm trying to utilize their welds that they have. I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to weld this area. These weld mitts are 2.5 inches long. I'm going to cut this area out. This is welded. I'm going to weld it across because our center gusset goes right here. I'm going to cut this out, weld this, cut this out. This one's welded. I'm going to cut this out, weld that, cut that one out. The end is welded. So I'm trying to utilize the welds that they have. I'm not going to bring it totally over top of the channel iron, but I am going to cut underneath, so I only have a small amount of overlap to reduce any possible impacting of dirt getting in between the layers and rusting this frame out. So next, on to the torch and the grinder. It's real good. I'm not trying to connect the dots here. My shield's fogged up, my glasses are fogged up, I couldn't see, and I obviously couldn't follow a straight line. But I wanted to bring you in on this part of the video because you're actually going to see how much trash falls from behind this. Now this should fry out. Do you see all that trash fall? Oh, missed a cut right there. Get the grinder out and I'll zing that cut. Trash fall. Well, there she is, ladies and gentlemen. You can see the rust buildup right behind that inner skirt. That's why you really don't want much more than 1 inch overlap. Let me bring you in for a close-up. This is a close-up of that rust buildup that you have in the expanding of the metal. So this is actually diamond plate, and this is 6-inch channel. Watch me flake this off. Now if you look right there, half the thickness of that steel is gone due to rust. Let me see if I can show you with a straight edge. If I can show you with a straight edge actually what that looks like. There you go. That's a straight edge on that piece of steel that's supposed to be straight. You can see how much steel is actually rusted away. That's why you don't want no more than 1 inch overlap on this channel iron. If you look right here, here's a heavier amount. Let's see what this looks like. Wow, I'm gonna have to chip that with a hammer. Wow, I'm glad I'm addressing this. This would be a trailer frame failure, I would say, in another 5 or 10 years. Let me go ahead and cut this 45 out, and I'm gonna get some brackets made up, 45 gussets, and clean this a little bit up where I didn't follow such a straight line. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side.